Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the chairperson of the Māori Affairs Committee and reads as follows. When will the Rotorua District Council Representation Arrangements Bill be reported back to the House?
Tamati Coffey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That is a matter for the committee.
Is the member confident that the committee will be able to ensure the bill is consistent with or overcomes the objections raised by the Attorney-General in his Section 7 report? And if so, how?
Member resume a seat. That's not a matter for the chair of the committee.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
These questions are very, very narrow, and the content is not the responsibility of the chair. Question number 2, the Honourable Paul Goldsmith.
My question is to the member in charge of the Rotorua District Council Representation Arrangements Bill. Will he discharge the Rotorua District Council Representation Arrangements Bill? If not, why not?
Tamati Coffey.
Mr. Speaker, no. I haven't discharged the bill so as to allow time for the Rotorua District Council to consider whether possible amendments are able to address the Attorney-General's Bill of Rights analysis. It's important to note that I have publicly said that the bill cannot continue in its form.
Supplementary. How could the bill be amended in such a way that doesn't deviate from equal voting rights, given that is the entire purpose of the bill?
Mr. Speaker, that's a matter for the advisers to work through, which is why we've given them the time to be able to work through that analysis and provide their final advice back to the committee process.
Question number 3, the Honourable Paul Goldsmith.
To the member in charge of the Rotorua District Council Representation Amendments Bill, will he be seeking support from the Māori Affairs Committee to suspend the hearing of submissions on the Rotorua District Council Representation Amendments Bill? If so, why?
Mr. Speaker, as sponsor of the bill, I have publicly stated that I'll be seeking the support from the Māori Affairs Select Committee to suspend submission hearings while possible amendments are considered, and I anticipate that the Select Committee will deal with that in due course.
Supplementary. Why doesn't he ask the committee to report the bill back immediately, recommending that it not proceed, given that it deviates from equal voting rights for all New Zealanders?
Because we are in a process, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like the process to be able to go through its process for the relevant advice to come back to the committee and for us to be able to make an informed decision together as a committee.
Paul Goldsmith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Justice. Is the government committed to the principle of equal suffrage in New Zealand's electoral laws?
The Honourable Christopher Foy.
Kia ora, Mr. Speaker. Yes.
Does he believe every New Zealander of voting age should have an equal say in who governs them?
Mr. Speaker, the government is committed to every New Zealander's right to participate in our democracy in a fair and equal basis.
Has he seen any advice on the Rotorua District Council Representation Arrangements Bill which seeks to deviate from the principle of equal voting rights? And if so, what actions, if any, has he taken?
Mr. Speaker, I've obviously seen reports since the Attorney-General has tabled his opinion on the Bill of Rights aspects or process that has been undertaken on that piece of legislation. The bill itself is a local bill. It is not a reflection of government policy, and I understand that the member in charge and the local government entity involved are taking a pause given the opinion expressed by the Attorney-General.
Does he agree with his Cabinet colleague, Honourable Willie Jackson, that, quote, the nature of our democracy has changed, end quote, and if so, is a move away from equal voting rights part of the government's intended direction of travel?
Mr Speaker, I reiterate that the government is committed to every New Zealander having the right to participate in our democracy on a fair and equal basis. That particular piece of legislation, as a local bill, has been through a select committee process and has had a vet by the Attorney-General. That particular local body entity is taking a pause, given the feedback given by the Attorney-General.
Is he not the Minister of Justice in a government that voted for a bill that seeks to remove equal voting rights?
Mr Speaker, yes, I am the Minister of Justice. And we voted for the bill in order for it to have a select committee process. The Attorney-General has given his opinion, as he does, or the Attorney-General does, with every piece of legislation. There have been some concerns raised by the Attorney-General, and it's up to the sponsor and the local body entity to deal with the challenges of that Attorney-General vet.
Question number... Supplementary. Well, I thought from all the noise that the members' colleagues didn't want another supplementary.
Wrong.
The Honourable Paul Goldsmith.
Does he agree with the Attorney-General that the bill discriminates against people not on the Māori roll? And if so, why was this not obvious to him when the bill had its first reading a few weeks ago?
Can I say once more for the member, the bill is a local bill brought forward by the Rotorua District Council and sponsored by a member of the House who was in charge of that. Every bill goes through an Attorney-General process. The Attorney-General has expressed some concerns, which I believe that the entity responsible for the bill is addressing.
The Honourable Chris Hipkins.
Has there been a previous example where the Attorney-General has recommended against a change to voting rights with regard to a member's bill, where the government of the day has voted in favour of that, such as when the voting rights from prisoners were removed?
Mr Speaker, I do recall that piece of legislation which passed under the last National Government. There are positive things that this government is doing in order to make sure that there are commitments to equality and fairness within our electoral system. That's why we're undertaking a full review, an independent review of our electoral system. We've also made some proposals to opposition parties around some things, policy changes, which we'd like to do before the next election. I look forward to a response from the member.
Rauri Waititi.
What is the Minister going to do about the racist legislation that locks Māori out for 8 years from participating in the general elections every 3 years?
Mr Speaker, I think the member is referring to issues around the Māori electoral option. I've had meetings with that member and also with opposition members about making sure that that particular aspect of our electoral law is fairer for those who are on the Māori roll. Again, I look forward to the opposition coming back with an opinion on that proposal from the government.